Radio's new hit show, For Whom the Bell Tolls, where you will hear current events from a volunteer's perspective, philosophical libertarianism, and a roadmap to a free and stateless society. Tune in every Tuesday at 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific and 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
Hi, this is Cindy Lake. Please listen to me on Freedom Talk with Cindy Lake at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on FreedomizerRadio.com. All the issues that are important to you, like Common Core, Agenda 21, Fully Informed Jury Association, 10th Amendment, 2nd Amendment, 4th Amendment, 3rd Amendment, the Constitution. See you at FreedomizerRadio.com, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you there.
Shalom and praises to the Father. More and more, we see the lies and the deceptions of the world. Where it should be obvious, we are in a spiritual battle. So I'd like to invite you to tune into the Sound Doctrine Ministries Fellowship Program right here on the Freedomizer Radio Network, where we will reason together according to the Holy Scriptures. Also, blessing you with an occasional guest, our spiritual common sense commentary, and spiritual uplifting songs that give praises to our Father.
Are you fascinated by the mysteries of life, pondering on questions such as, where do we come from? Why are we here? Are you tired of giving your power over to authority who benefits off your labor and suffering? Are you ready to take your power back and become the God and Goddess you already are? Join me, Druanna Johnston, on Sovereign Gods every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time for truth, sovereignty, and enlightenment on FreedomizerRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Thrice with Thrice's Download. I got my guest here tonight, David Panter. He got some information on Orgonite for y'all. We both have taken the venture in our own ways. He's done his thing and I've done mine, and just kind of coming together of minds here for this episode, just for the people who don't know about vibrational technologies. And if you haven't listened before, this is Thrice's Download. We air Tuesday and Thursdays, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can listen to us on Blog Talk Radio, but we are with Freedomizer Radio. Freedomizer Radio just has its own station on Blog Talk Radio. But you can go to FreedomizerRadio.com, listen live, listen on your smartphone. You can find my show, Thrice's Download, in the show section. Download some of the past episodes. Listen. So far, we've talked about dreams. We've talked about ancient technologies. Today, we're touching on vibrational technologies, which technically kind of was ancient technologies, and where a lot of this information has come from. So I'm going to bring David back in here. Hey, David, you there?
I am. Hello.
Hey, all right. So we're going to continue forward. I know for me, we started a nonprofit with me and some partners, and it's called BNSU. And one of the things we were pushing was Orgonite, and it was a campaign for people to purchase or actually fund, and we were going to do a crowdfunding where it was funding for making Orgonite. And all of the donations would go to the supplies of building different, what do they call them? Orgon devices? What's an actual name? Do you know?
Sure, yeah, that's a great name for it. Orgon devices, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, there's all sorts of different Orgon devices. I've seen cylinders, pyramids, and then you have the cones, even spherical, giant spheres. And it's amazing because the reality is the shape of the mold actually holds its own geometric matrix. Correct me if I'm wrong here, David.
No, you're accurate. You're right on beat right there.
So basically what we were trying to push was the idea of a crowdfunding campaign where you get your own piece of like Orgonite desk piece or giant rock, Orgonite rock that sits in your home, because there is ways to make it glow with lights and all sorts of stuff. They're becoming very there's a lot of features you can get with your Orgonite nowadays if you really search for it. People are getting really creative. There are a lot of people who are pushing it, and even somebody was saying it was like the Orgonite gifting movement, and it's where if you go across some people's webpage, they'll challenge you to go out and make your own Orgonite or buy Orgonite and then put it near like electrical transformers in neighborhoods. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that was basically what we were aiming at. And I bounced it off some people, who I respect and everything. And then I even tried to get some public feedback. And it was just amazing how every time I tried to bring it up, I spent most of the conversation describing what vibrational technology is, or what even the science of frequency and how, ancient religions and quantum physics now, and there's all this basis of we are a vibrational existence. And it seemed that most people don't even know that.
Absolutely. And even if you had a shot at most people and you had 30 seconds of their undivided attention and you were to be able to describe it down to the fucking decimal point, they still wouldn't. It's not in their radar yet. And I believe that's because they are out of frequency. They're not in the right vibrational zone to be able to even be close to what we're supposed to be in harmony with. And that's
it's like they'll look at it. They're like, "Where's the power source? How do you turn it on?"
Exactly. Yeah. They can't see it. I mean, but people they listen to the radio and they can't see where the signal's coming from, but they still listen to it and hear it. And just because Orgonite hasn't been, I guess, shown as clearly as I can't even describe it. It's just,
No, I mean, it's as simple as have you had energy therapy?
Energy therapy? Pardon me?
Yeah, have you ever had energy therapy?
I have. I mean, what form? Reiki, sound therapy?
Oh, I'm just asking a broad term. I figure if I mention Reiki or some
absolutely,
type of energy,
I mean, energy therapy is if you can find the right kind of energy therapy, that just means that you have found a coach who can expose you to the right frequency that will bring you back into harmony with the form that you should be experiencing if you weren't so out of phase because of all the bullshit that we have to deal with from day to day.
A dense physical being.
Cymatics, that I mentioned before, it kind of describes that. And if you see how certain frequencies, when they're so if you put sand on a table and you put a speaker underneath and you a certain frequency through the speaker, the sand will align itself into geometric patterns that are it's called sacred geometry. It's a whole other topic, but when if you just go a couple hertz over, say, 528, which is just what we call C sharp, pretty much, a couple hertz over, the sand completely distorts. If you are right at 528 hertz, the shape of the sand it's magical. It's almost impossible to believe that frequency, when vibrated through a speaker onto sand, can make the sand take a certain form, because that's what frequency does to us. it gives us the form that we are in. So when you are exposed to the natural frequencies that Earth is supposed to be giving to us and we are supposed to be connected to, yet somehow we are so out of sequence with and we don't even know it. And that's, back to Orgonite. That's why I think it's helpful, because it acts as a filter between all the shit that we don't even know we're experiencing and what we're supposed to be in tune with. And
well, you keep saying experiencing, and I just got to harp on that, because the reality is, I like to talk about modulated devices. And if I get the money one day, or when I get the money, when I get enough money to push these projects,
there you go.
I'm going to push modulation, and I hope anybody out there does it too, because I don't care about, monopolyism and corporate society. I would love to destroy it. I will play the game as long as I have to, but the reality is every step I take politically will be against the mass production society. I am completely about recycling and modulation. I think that the fact that we're at a point of technology that we haven't embraced the fact that we can reuse almost everything. We can take some of our computer stuff and convert it into old computers, old Androids, old Bluetooth, headsets. Our kids should be learning how to convert that stuff into smart home technology. That should be what our schools teach.
That would be a great class. I would be so happy to have a child. If I were to have, let's say, an 8th grader who came home and I was like, so what did you do at school today? And he was like, well, Dad, I took your 1998 BlackBerry and turned it into a home Wi-Fi security system, and I can see what you're doing in your office from my school because I'm on the internet. I'd be like, good job. I believe in the educational system that you're in, but sadly that wouldn't be my child's answer. So
yeah, it's just the possibility is there, and I think that the more we acknowledge that, the closer we are to creating that reality. And all the mystics and the wise talk about that, of living in the now and embracing the experience and creating it. The first step is knowing thyself. And then from there, you know the universe. And that term, a lot of people think, it's understanding. No. Knowing doesn't mean understanding. Knowing means that you are aware. The perception of observation is so much more than thinking. And understanding, to me, when you say understand or I have understanding, it's a description of the mind. And I think that the mind is just a tool of the body. Me personally, it's a receiver, it's an antenna, it has multiple purposes, but it's still a physical flesh. The electricity that fires in it, which comes from the heart. And if you don't know this, and I'm not just talking about you, David, I'm talking about everybody. You start at your heart. There's an electrical trigger that triggers your frequency and the existence that you are as a vibration. That just blew my mind when I found that out. You know what I'm saying?
So are you talking about the frequency that we emit as humans, what are you saying?
So there's a spot in the heart that actually physically is where the spark starts. And then from there, that electricity is pushed out through the blood into the organs, and then the organs have their own frequencies because all the cells have their own frequencies, and then grouping, creates its own larger vibration. But the overall original spark comes from this spot inside of your heart, and that's where the mystics all talked about. Your heart is really where you are. That is who you are. Follow your heart. That famous thing that's in the Hollywood, movies and all the stories that really good writers write about. It's about following your heart. Unless it's about horror and gore, and then we all just like violence.
Well, yeah, we're taught to, but yes.